Okay. Welcome, one and all. Happy Monday, everyone. Nice to see you, right? I'm sure you'll be shuffling in here as we go, right? I started a little later than normal, as in I didn't have my starting student screen up like I normally do, but I'm sure you guys will figure it out. I sent an announcement in my Discord, and you can come pop in if you like. Today we're talking about something a little different. So all week we got politics. Okay. Tomorrow we got the debate watch that we're gonna do at 9. We have Dylan Burns and Lonerbox coming on to talk about the tenant situation, right? The Russian ops that we're going on. That'll be a fun topic. We're going to be talking about the father of the mass shooter who caught a charge basically because he bought his son a gun. Uh, these all should be very, very fun. Um, but tonight, we're doing something a little bit different. Okay, a little bit off the cuff. It's something I've been following for a while, and I've been very curious about. And I have brought Gelatinous Rube on here today to tell me about it and to kind of describe the situation because it's something I've seen blog posts on and I've seen tweets about, but I haven't really got a full picture. I haven't done a deep dive on this. So I figured tonight we're going to talk about it, and I'll get to what it is in a second. And Gelatinous Rube will kind of help guide us through and help kind of explain to the layman, the ones not balls deep in D&D Twitter, what is actually going on here. And you might be like, why are we talking about drama on Twitter? That's weird. Because I think this is transitioning from Twitter to real life, and I find it very, very interesting. I think it's a First Amendment issue. And without further ado, let me kind of explain what's going on here or describe the situation as I see it. So, recently, there has been a kerfuffle about the term Braunstein. It's a type of Braunstein, I'm not sure. It's a type of game style that is done in role playing games such as Dungeons and Dragons. And it's been something that creators have been talking about for a little bit in the space. And recently, the people who purport to own the term have come and threatened lawsuits to the people who have been playing Braunstein games and talking about it publicly. And there is a lot to unpack here. I'm not sure if I described that situation correctly, but that's as I see it, as I've been reading it. But Rube here, why don't you introduce yourself and then you kind of lay out, tell us what's going on. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm Gelatinous Rube, also known as Asher Creativity or James Streisand. I'm a small-time author, third-party designer for a variety of games, mostly fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons up until recently. And I was doing some videos. I took a break for a little while, and now I'm back into it. Now that I've finally been yanked back in as a result of this recent controversy. Your impression of events was mostly correct with one small detail wrong. It is a friend or two friends of David Wesley who are, let's see here, someone ban this guy. Uh, there's a friend or two friends of people who are supposedly uh, threatening to sue us on David Wesley's behalf, right? So, not actually David Wesley. And they are attempting to restrict contact with David Wesley. The short of the situation in recent years is that a style of play was rediscovered through rigorous application of old rule sets, adherence to old rule sets, a willingness to basically see where things were going, and a willingness to experiment within the confines of a rule set, AD&D from the 80s, basically 80s D&D primarily. And folks were interested in replicating these experiences. They found that there were a few people who did similar things back in the as far back as the late 60s actually, when it came to either nascent role playing or wargaming. And we started using the term Braunstein to describe this style of play after a similar campaign style from way back when.
That seems like
And
that seems standard practice to me, right? Like so the West
yes,
Marches style of game. If people aren't familiar, it's a style of Dungeons and Dragons and playing Dungeons and Dragons that role playing games in general really that has also gained popularity. And it's simply used as a shortcut to kind of describe a style of play, as Rube here was putting it. What made me, I guess, my ears perk up at this, right? At this whole story um, is how litigious, right? And how I think the desire to own a concept can really stifle creativity. It can stifle cooperation amongst content creators. It can also stifle one's ability to try new things in gaming or even adapt older things to something that is more modern and up to date. Uh, when it comes to the people who are threatening to sue on Wesley's behalf, what can you kind of I invited them on, to be clear. There's a couple I reached out to. One said he couldn't make it today. The other never responded to me. Um, what's their basic argument? Can you steelman that for us, please?
the basic argument, and I'm afraid I can't steel man it. I wish I will try my best. The basic argument is that we are, by referring to our campaigns in videos and in tweets and blogs and other promotional material, you could say, we are in some way infringing on the trademark or material of Braunstein's. By using it in any published works, we are basically, in the words of the person accusing us and threatening this lawsuit, we are slapping the Ferrari logo on a Yugo.
Okay. I guess I really wish one of them had designed to come on today. I really do. Harmony Ginger was supposed to be on here today, but apparently she's made amends of some sort behind the scenes. She said I could say this, right? Made amends behind the scenes, so she doesn't want to kick the hornet's nest by going over this. But this bothers me because I think it's one of those things which I think if it if it works, if people stop talking about Braunstein or stop playing Braunstein or stop advertising Braunsteins that they're going to host or play because they're afraid of a litigious person, I think that this makes gaming overall a worse place. Look, I have problems with WotC and how they conduct themselves. I have problems with several different companies in the video game market and how they conduct themselves when it comes to intellectual property laws and other things like this. But this idea that you can't use this name even if you're not charging for it, even if it's just talking about it. You can't put out a video about a Brownstein game, right?
Mm.
Says who? Like, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't see this holding up in court at all. Like at all.
No, no, of course not. There's no case law for this, virtually no case law for this. You're not going to get this in front of a judge because that's really not what it's about. I don't think. I don't think it's about actually getting this in front of a judge or anything like that. I think it's about suppressing people who are associating themselves with this word so that it doesn't suck the wind out of the sails of like a future product. If, for instance, people tell you how to run a West Marches, and let's say that the original creator of the West Marches was like a despicable person who wanted to lay claim to this name after popularizing it or letting people popularize it, and then decided I want to sell a product based off of it. I want to make sure I can monopolize the term. I don't want anybody in the market to have any to provide any free access to this term. So he's going to sue Matt Colville for having a video on West Marches, right? That's not practical in any real sense, but you might levy the threat against somebody like Matt Colville because you think that because maybe he'll pull the video down, or maybe he'll stop talking about it, maybe he's not going to drag away with free advice, drag away potential sales for your upcoming authoritative work on how to run a West
That
Marches.
doesn't even make sense from like a strategic perspective. However, like if
No.
you want to get no, there's some questions from chat, and we'll get to them. Right, I see them. Right, and don't worry, I won't forget. But this again, this idea that if people are talking about or using a word that you want to make a product based off of, if they have already popularized it for you, that's just free marketing, baby. That's all it is. And if
Mm,
you were to release a product that gave the official Braunstein or official West Marches or official whatever niche kind of style of play that you wanted to actually make a product out of it, they've just helped you in a very real sense. They've just helped you. So again, I'm just trying to wrap
mm,
my mind around why, and the only reason I can think of that makes any kind of sense, and I'm sure that there might be more. My imagination sometimes is limited in these things. Is that you don't like that certain people are doing it, so you wouldn't
mhm.
have a problem if, say, Matt Colville did it, but you might have a problem if, I don't know, just being extreme here, a politician you didn't like started using the term and playing the game, right? Like
Right.
it smacks of, I don't like this person, so I am going to keep them away and try to gatekeep them out of this style of play that I think I like, right? Or that I made up, or that I codified, whatever you
You're
want to
close.
term. Yeah,
You're pretty close. It's slightly more petty and dumb than that, unfortunately. So RPGs are a notoriously small industry, right? You're primarily going to be around. It doesn't make nearly as much money as video games or movies or books or anything else. There's plenty of slop out on the market, but the industry is primarily dominated by like Call of Cthulhu, Pathfinder Second Edition, D&D, obviously, and a few others that are like stronger major contender, or sorry, that have also become market shares in their own right. Like for instance, the Lancer RPG, one of my favorites. You're going to find people who are very small-minded, especially in the OSR crowd and in the basically the originators of the hobby, or people who consider themselves authoritative on the origins of the hobby, are interested in keeping it small, provided that they have that provided that they have some measure of control
sure.
or
They want to be
control
the
their
big fish in the
influence
small pond,
in
and
a
as the
small
pond
pond.
gets bigger, they want to they'll their control will be threatened. This plays out in a whole lot of instances and a whole lot of areas, right? So I get
Yeah.
what you're saying here.
Because there's a sense of tabletop RPGs being small. Think about your table, generally speaking, is going to be like 6 people max. So you're going to there's a sense of I am I am authoritative because I've gotten into contact with this other person who has ties to the origins of the hobby, or they're a big league designer, or they work for a big company, or maybe they worked at TSR in the past, or I know one of Ernie's sons or something like that. That's going to be cool. That gives me some kind of cred with a small group of people, which is just my players or my fellow players around the table. And so that's their sort of modus, that's their mindset that they're coming to this from. So if you have somebody making big sweeping claims about the hobby, that starts to degrade their sense of importance, their sense of identity, I guess. And it's a trend that's gone back over a decade, and it's led to some really nasty interactions online and people behaving in just frankly indefensible and petty, cruel ways
Give
for
us an
no
example.
reason. So back in 2017, Jeffro Johnson, who's going to be our main villain for this particular story, a lawsuit, I suppose, the main target of the lawsuit,
So it
really.
was an actual lawsuit, not a threatened one.
No, 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 no. It not yet.
Not yet.
It
It's
has nothing has been filed. The CD
okay.
has
So they
been
just threatened.
distributed.
Is basically a
Right.
threat since 2017.
No, 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 no. Let me finish here.
Okay,
So
finish your.
going back to the example is of cruelty and this kind of attitude going back to 2017. We'll start there with a book released by Jeffro Johnson called Appendix N, A Literary History of Dungeons and Dragons. It was a catalog based on Jeffro's blog at the time, going over individual Appendix N works. Appendix N is the literary inspirations for D&D. It's included, I believe, in the Three Little Brown Books, and it's definitely included in the Dungeon Master's Guide of AD&D, first edition. And it includes a ton of different fantasy works from people like Edgar Rice Burroughs. You have DeCamp, Pruitt, Roger Zelazny, my favorite. Tolkien is on there, but and this is I'll get to that later. And Michael Moorcock, of course. So if you've heard of Elric of Melniboné, Jack of Shadows, Tarzan, Conan the what is it?
Barbarian?
Conan the Barbarian. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. John Carter of Mars. I almost said John Carpenter of Mars, which is a joke going back to 2019. These are all interesting fantasy works that basically inspired Gary Gygax to make the game that he did, alongside some other people, Dave Arneson, you have Rob Kuntz, and whatever you pronounce his last name. But these are the primary literary inspirations from which you can identify. Oh, and the most important one, Jack Vance, probably,
Hmm.
from which we get the Vancian spellcasting system. You can point to
Okay,
different
he has his
mechanics.
book. Let's turn this
As this
from a
book, yeah,
20-minute
sorry about
story
that.
to a 2-minute story. So he has a book. He released a Dependence, has great references on it. Why is
Right.
this? What has this to do with the subject at hand?
It is immediately reviled because it begins making sweeping claims about the origins of the hobby that certain people in the OSR do not approve of. So the idea that, for instance, that fantasy, AD&D, was not by and large, just a gamified version of Lord of the Rings was personally offensive to a lot of people because they like the idea of just saying, hey, we're playing D&D. It's basically Lord of the Rings, but on a tabletop
Sure,
game.
I understand the it's the easy shorthand, but why are they offended that there's more to it? I don't understand.
It
Why
implies
would
that
you
they're
be
wrong
offended that there was more inspiration than simply one single book?
because it going back to the beginning of our discussion, and I'm trying to get myself in the mindset of these people as much as possible. They were because they regard tabletop RPGs as small and have a small experience within tabletop RPGs, sweeping claims are taken as personal attacks if they contradict your opinion on this. It's not the same in video games. It's not the same in movies. It's not the same in
Oh,
books.
I
You
I
can
don't
get a
know. Have
little
you
bit
ever
of
been to
it.
any fandoms about book? Like,
Yes.
have you ever look? Tumblr was basically the fandom wars, and look, this is a bit of an aside, but the amount of drama, acidicness, and hatreds that were born within Tumblr has poisoned our political discourse in a lot of ways, and
Okay.
has their tendrils have eked out and burrowed into just how we interact online, and I think in very terrible ways. But I guess, do you think that's all this is though? Like with the Braunstein, tell us a little bit more. Like there's a couple questions in chat, and I'll ask that. Cameraman 502 asks, how long has the term been used?
So the term has been used since when I really should know this offhand. I thought that Braunstein came from 1969.
When did it get
Like
like it used? Well, what I think they're asking is, when did it start being used in common parlance online?
late 1960s. That's when it was created online,
Yeah.
not since we did it in 2020, because that's
So
when Jeffrey
fairly
Johnson started
recently
the
they
yeah,
started the online revival of it, if you will. Um Came in about 2020 when the term was reintroduced
right.
online.
There
Um
was also a documentary called Secrets of Blackmore,
okay.
which is the Secrets of Blackmore account, or Black at Blackmore Film is one of the accounts threatening to sue us, who hates the pro-SR and these people within our sort of side movement about going back to the 80s and trying to uh, recover gaming secrets lost to time, has basically investigated a lot of this stuff. pitched us on original historical, like primary source historical documents that are apparently in this guy's basement because he knew a lot of these guys from old TSR and apparently has a lot of these materials. He's in personal correspondence with David Wesley, which we'll get to later as well, and the interesting online interactions that we had to deal with there. But it's basically gone unused besides the people who are talking about it on the regular on Twitter, which is a group of people known as the Bro SR on
So
Twitter.
before we get into that, I think it might be helpful. This is the I'm not sure if this is a tweet or an email or what have you, but this is what first caught my eye about the situation today, and it's from a guy named Griff. Um,
Yep, that would be
and
at Blackmore Films.
so Blackmore Films. This is what was said that made it seem as if there would be lawsuits filed. This was the threat. This was the kind of, I don't know if I want to call it the inciting incident, but it is the incident that caught my eye and thought, I want to talk about this, right? So I'm going to read it to the audience so you guys can understand what's being said here, what's being claimed from Griff's own words, and then we'll continue on with the conversation. Sound good? Sounds good.
Yes.
So, Blackmore is the only campaign to have utilized all 4 RPG formats in one game, as far as I know. I just got off the phone with David Wesley. And side note, he's the guy that apparently coined the term Braunstein back in the day. If you won't listen to me, then maybe you will listen to what he has to say. David is really adamant about protecting his game name rights. He proceeded to tell me the story about the man who invented the cult repeater. As the story goes, Cult sent letters to all his competitors and said, I am too poor right now to sue you for any infringements on my patents, but as soon as I can afford it, I will be coming for you. 15 years later, Cult had enough profits from the design that he proceeded to sue all his competition out of business. On the flip side of that is how David is very amicable to anyone wanting to license Braunstein for a nominal sum in order to create a Braunstein adjacent product selling through the use of the Braunstein label. You may contact the Fellowship of the Thing Ltd for licensing inquiries. Additionally, David Wesley is not accepting interviews until further notice or till the drama dies down and we just get along. Ciao, Griff. So, on the face of it, what's wrong with that? He has a property, an intellectual property he feels is his own, and he wants to protect that property from people selling bootleg copies, basically, would be
Right.
the probably a better analogy, right? It's as if you wanted to sell a Disney, um, if you wanted to claim that what you were selling was Disney's Snow White, but it was just some other Snow White, right? And it didn't
Right.
have the Disney label. Disney would sue the fuck out of you, right? Like Disney would take you to court and bury you. Why are
Absolutely.
these situations different?
A couple of reasons. One is because IP laws are different for games. Generally speaking, you can't patent game mechanics. The times that's been done, all in all, are few and far between. Uh, and they're notable, like the Nemesis system from Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor. That's been patented, but I don't know if that's actually been, if anybody has actually held on to that game mechanic and disrupted another game's development or published game by virtue of that of infringing on that patent, because generally speaking you can't patent game mechanics.
No, but
There's
you
a
can
layer of
patent
specificity.
names.
You Yes, you can,
Yeah.
absolutely. That brings us to like the second issue here, because it's two part. This guy just didn't like the fact that we're doing Braunsteins, and he doesn't like that we're using the term Braunstein. So that's part one. Part two is that throughout the game's history and going further back, people have referred to these games as anything that matches the mechanical definition of Braunstein. People have referred to it as such. So Blackmore, Dave Arneson put out ads for what he called a medieval Braunstein, where multiple independent actors were going to take control of characters in the world and possibly initiate conflict under a fog of war. It was already being used in the same term and the same style as West Marches back in the day, and has been sparsely used a few times since. So it's not that we're infringing on intellectual property at that point. We've sort of used it, we've been using it as a verb. And so you could explore this threat to sue as a kind of cup check, hoping that people will just use a different name before our use explodes into some kind of more mainstream popularity, use and utility, even though it's been, for enters the common parlance, at which point his, I guess, right to a trademark or right to a patent or something like that would be diminished.
The legal I'm not so here's the thing. I don't know the law on intellectual property, trademarks, etc., copyright, etc.
Copyright patents, yeah.
I don't know the law well enough to say whether or not this this has any legal framework or grounding. But that's almost a beside the point to me, right?
Yeah.
It's beside the point because whether or not there is a legal basis for this claim doesn't really matter, because I think that the idea that your a term you used for a set of mechanics became popular for what, 4 years now?
Yep.
4 years now?
Really,
And
really about like 2022 and 2023 is where
oh,
we started like using this a lot.
okay, so it really
Slightly more recent than
popped
that. We
off
started doing it in
fairly recent.
2020. The
Sure.
term we started using in 2022, 2023.
Okay, so fair enough. So
I have like a history in front of
it's
me.
not that long then, right? That it's been
Mhm.
been going on. But again, I think that this comes, and the reason why I want to talk about it is because of, I think that preventing someone from using this term in regards to a style of play that you do just at your home, right? Or even just talking about it, um, I think that is a chilling effect on free speech. Bringing a lawsuit based on that chills free speech, chills people's ability to actually come together and play a game. Now, it would be different if you guys were selling the quote unquote official Braunstein rules, buy my book for just $9.99, and you too can know the secrets of Braunstein, where you get the
Right,
full official rules from David Wesley himself. That's different. If anyone's doing that, they, yeah, probably stop. That's probably not something you should be
right.
doing. But
And nobody is.
to your knowledge, at least.
No, no. I think I'm the only person who is actually going to be selling a product with the word Braunstein in it because I've been working on it since 2020. So I actually have some personal investment at this point
Are you worried that you are going to be sued?
because uh, I don't know about worried that I'm going to be sued. I'm more worried about the social ramifications. I've been working on a module called Chomas Valley,
Hmm.
which was originally had a team behind it and now no longer does, which has extended the length of the project hugely, and has and makes reference to the terms of Braunstein, Grand Campaign, patron play, whatever have you, these different secrets that have been unearthed in recent years. And I don't am referring to it as the style of play. I sort of have to, I don't know. I'm worried about the suppressing effect. I'm really just 100% worried about the suppressing effect from because I know that there's no legal standing for this. I've done this for a while. I've released fifth edition products, not fifth edition D&D. Who knows what fifth edition? Fifth edition products without the use of the OGL since I started doing it back in like 2018 or whatever it was. And so I'm prepared for this on the legal front. It's the suppression of people who are regarded as unmentionable and need to be sort of huddled away in the interest of more of people like really just ruling over these petty fiefdoms of of like the aughts blogosphere and Google Plus days that worries me primarily because it has this outsized, I don't know. Anytime you have one person who is small in terms of popularity and following, and you have a larger group, a more pre-established, like calcified group of people, and you have this one person who brings up something that like would be of benefit to the group, but would also dissolve some of that like calcified petty fiefdoms that are around these the social media market, if you will, social media audience, they're going to be rather vicious at attacking that small person. And that suppresses the cool idea until somebody who has a friendly audience or gets exposed to a friendly audience can bring it out of obscurity, which is basically what Harmony Ginger did this year. It's no coincidence that that's why the lawsuit was threatened this year, is because somebody popular, regarded as like the face card, right, brought it in front of a new audience who was friendly and willing to give it a try and was did not have any personal investment in their authority on the OSR because they didn't know what any of these words means or any of these
Sure.
acronyms mean. It's no coincidence that that's when this all like these legal threats started. Griff hated us for the past 40 years, even though we're probably the only people who like really watched his documentary because we're the only people using the material they're in. But now it's threatening to sort of break past this quarantine of petty, evil, this really just deceitful and
Okay, you're
small-minded
using a
people.
lot of words here. Evil. Why are these people evil?
Oh, if you do any of the things that I just mentioned or just described, you're an evil person. That's why.
Oh,
So
okay.
like let's say that I take you, Wick, right? You're in the orbit of a lot of other streamers, right? So you got Destiny, you got Pisco, you have a bunch of Twitch people, whatever have you. There's a lot of people out here.
Twitch people.
Dan,
But go on.
right? And you come out and you have this fantastic debate format ready to go for a bunch of people where we're going to have a panel. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be plenty of information exchange, but it's also going to be entertaining because you have the right mixture of people attacking each other, but not letting it go on too long. And you say, hey, I'm going to bring this out. I'm going to start inviting small creators on first, and then I'm going to see if I can invite a bunch of big creators. Let's say the small creators start getting bigger by virtue of being on your panel. And like Destiny, Pisco, all these other people turned around and said, fuck this guy. We're going to shut him down. We're going to report him. We're going to tell people not to interact with him. We're going to have blog posts and backroom chats, memos basically going out to other larger creators saying, do not talk to these people. They are bad.
But what if the
Would that
people
be,
are
would
bad?
you characterize that as evil?
No, depends. Like there are people
Okay.
in this space who I will not have on my show
Okay.
because and there's some are smaller, some are bigger, right? But they have done certain things that I find reprehensible, right? And there's a little bit of a feels vibes based thing, right? It's not 100% consistent, but I
Yeah.
try. Um, am I evil for doing that? For saying, hey, I don't like this person. I think this person is bad. I don't think people should. I'm not gonna have them on my show anymore, and I don't want I'm not gonna probably not gonna watch anything that they're a part of. Does that make someone evil?
No. Well, it could. Here's the test. What do you do when you come across somebody who is likable, who hasn't done anything wrong, even in your eyes, but is talking about the same ideas as those who you've shunned?
Like
And we're assuming, of course, that the ideas themselves are not in of themselves
sure.
evil,
Like,
right?
I get you. We're taking off the table any weird hypotheticals where what if someone's talking about killing people's pets or something, right? Oh, okay, fair enough. We're not talking about that though. Um, I think that I don't think that the wanting to protect a style of play is necessarily evil, but when you take certain actions about it, because what this is when we get to the core of it, it's it's gatekeeping. It's an extreme form of gatekeeping, but it's gatekeeping. They're trying
Mm.
to gatekeep you out of Braunstein, right? You can say they shouldn't, right? They have no real reason to do so, and there's no real we're not doing any harm, and that I agree with you actually from what I can see. But the idea of wanting to gatekeep, I don't think gatekeeping in and of itself is evil. And in fact, I would argue that in certain conditions, gatekeeping is something you should do, and it would be wrong not to gatekeep.
I can totally accept there are no bad tactics argument. There are only bad targets. totally willing to accept that. But again, in my hypothetical, what if you have
Oh no, there are
chosen a
bad
bad?
tactics. Like, look, the lawsuit stuff's weird. Okay, it's
Would you call
weird.
that evil?
I don't know. I don't think it'd be evil is such a strong term. I would think it's wrong. It's something that will chill the hobby. I think it will uh, be a detriment to those involved, and it doesn't look good. But evil, man, I don't know.
I'm not using that term lightly, by the way. There's plenty of people who are petty, stupid, small-minded, and also evil.
Well,
I don't need
sure,
somebody to be
yes.
like
So what I'm asking
conspiratorial
is, what
mastermind
makes
for it.
these particular people? Because you called these particular people, what was their names? Griff and who was the other one?
Griff, there's a guy who's under the account name of Dave Kahn, and I believe is
Okay, yeah, I
also
reached out to
Vic
him as well.
D
He's the
on
one that
Twitter.
couldn't make it today. Unfortunately, Monday just wasn't
Sad.
something, and I would
Unfortunate.
have liked to have him on and get his
Me
perspective
too.
of this. But like, so you're doubling down on this. Dave and Griff are evil. What makes them evil?
Evil people. The bad target. Because they've gone after Harmony
Because they're going
Ginger, who
after
has not.
Harmony Gender. They're evil.
Because there's basically no distinction to be had that can justify putting Harmony Ginger sort of in the same camp as
If you
us.
criticize
She's
her,
clearly just no,
you're
no, no, no,
evil.
no, 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 no.
Oh my goodness. Go
Don't
ahead.
like don't cast me in the state of defending women. Okay, this is very insulting to me. I spent a lot of time. My reputation is at stake. The it's the bad again. It's the bad target. This person is just talking about a game that she likes, a style of play that she ran. She is talking about it with other people who've run that style of play. She's not selling any products based on it. She's just talking about it in the same
But she's
vein
talking about
as
it online, correct? And
online.
her channel's monetized?
I don't think that her channel is monetized. And
Okay, if it's
also,
not
that wouldn't make
monetized, it's
any
different.
distinction
But if it
whatsoever.
is monetized and you discuss a thing, you are profiting off that thing, are you not?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that is like an enshrined
if her
right in
channel is
Congress.
monetized, are they less evil for wanting to protect their intellectual property such as it is?
More evil.
They're more evil if she's
More
monetized.
evil.
Okay.
I'm tripling down on this. And
Explain.
I want to finish that last thread just briefly. So this person hasn't done anything wrong. They're just talking about it in the style of a fan who likes a thing. And if your intention is to suppress that fan and their just generic free expression, you're evil. There's no way around it. You're evil. You're attacking somebody else's basic expressions of like life and liberty and how they interact with the rest of the world. It's a very dehumanizing action.
Hmm.
And if they're participating in the hobby insofar as they've monetized it, right, by talking about reviewing your works, especially in glowing terms, and receiving money for it, which means that there's a community of people who appreciate not just her work, but your work, your IP by extension, that have been brought to you by extension. It's evil. It's worse than like a dog biting the hand that feeds them.
I'm stuck. I'm
It's a
stuck on
betrayal.
because I agree with the fact that the people doing this are in the wrong here. I agree with that.
Mhm.
But where we're getting stuck is the idea that that makes them evil. Maybe we just use the term evil differently. So what can you? This is maybe getting the weeds a little bit, or maybe getting a little meta.
You
But
can set a time limit for me if you.
what's evil mean to you? What
What's
is evil?
oh man, evil to me is like the very generic definition is going to be people who are attacking the ability to express other folks and attacking their lives in some way making their lives unlivable. And you can do that in really petty and small ways so that they don't like they're unable to trust people because of your interactions with them. They're unable to engage with in commerce. That's like a big way. If you suppress somebody's ability to like buy if you suppress somebody's ability to freely exchange money, I think that's pretty bad. And
So are the
these
sanctions
little
against
small
Russia? Are
debts.
the sanctions against Russia evil?
I have not excluded. I have not
Because you're
defined
stopping
responsive
Russians,
actions.
Russian nationals, right,
Okay.
from engaging in commerce freely. You're stopping them from being able to sell certain products in America, and which in some cases might uh, terribly affect their livelihood. I'll give you an example
Might
of what
literally kill
happened.
them.
Huh?
Might literally kill them. Might
Yes, they
literally
might starve
starve
to
them to
death,
death.
right?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of something minor that happened to a friend of mine. Um, they taught Chinese kids, right? They taught Chinese kids English for a while through a program, right? And China changed its law, which made it so that foreign teachers could no longer teach Chinese children, right? Unless there were certain things they had to do, right? But
You
generally
have
it was a
somebody in your chat
ban.
who was affected by this. Scooter for Mike.
There you go,
He's one of the
right?
bros.
Was the was that something that when China changed their law, they were depriving him of his ability, as you said, to gain sustenance, to talk about certain things with certain people? Does that make Was that law evil?
I don't see why I would even balk at that, of course. Outside very, very limited instances. Bro, if you're taking somebody's ability to live, I don't think that that should be like confusing if I call that evil. If I steal your car, that's evil.
Sure. Um,
If I steal your bank account, that's evil.
However,
If I do
if
it in a Rube Goldberg way, it's still evil. But just to be clear,
if
because you
I
mentioned something
put
earlier,
hold on,
I
let
still
me
have
because
it.
I
Okay.
disagree with you. If I decide to make a product that is better than yours, okay?
Mm.
Maybe I put out 5e stuff that everyone wants to buy and everyone stops buying your product and instead starts buying mine. I have, in a way, stolen your ability to make money. I've taken your
No.
idea. I've taken that kind of uh, the creation, and I've just made a better mousetrap. I've just done it better than you have. Am I
Okay.
evil for doing that?
I think that you're blurring the lines between just like regular your interactions of commerce with other people and like physically taking it away, right? If I perform better at my job and somebody else loses their job at my company, have I indirectly affected them? Maybe. If I is that like an obviously distinct activity from like lying about their performance and putting a bunch of and like, maybe
Sure.
messaging their customers as them?
Lying's wrong.
Obviously
I
distinct.
agree.
Right. So between all of these discussions, there is an expectation. All of my moral claims today and forever onwards have an expectation of reciprocity. If you start going outside reciprocity and you start engaging in evil in these ways, then the duty for somebody else to reciprocate goodwill and good activity towards you is no longer required.
I just think
Self
it's
defense is not like excluded
sure, to bring it
here.
back to the topic at hand, like Jeffro Johnson says, you just said someone is evil. Let me pretend not to understand the concept for 30 minutes. I understand the concept, but I'm trying to get you to define the concept better because the way you used it is nonsensical to me. That these people have
Okay.
disagreed with us online, right? They disagree with us about this issue that we're having regarding Braunstein and the use of the term. We think you shouldn't use that term unless that you take a license from this Wesley guy, right? And that you shouldn't be using this because we think it's a proprietary term.
Threatened threatened a frivolous lawsuit
Well,
to
they don't
censure
believe this is frivolous.
your bank.
That's what I'm saying.
Uh,
They don't
I
believe it's
disagree.
frivolous.
I
Unless
completely disagree.
you think that they know it's frivolous and they're doing it just to fuck with you. That's evil if that's true. But
Okay, I do. One,
I'm
I do
assuming that
believe
they're
that.
not lying.
I would. I am definitely assuming that they're lying.
Well, I'm not like I try to assume everyone's acting at least somewhat honestly until I'm made aware otherwise. But assuming you are
That's
all
not true.
honest in your accountings of things and they are all honest in their opinions of things, this isn't an evil versus good thing. This is they think it's one way and you think it's another way, and they if they aren't they don't believe their lawsuit is frivolous.
Well, they're not threatening anybody else who's used the term Braunstein in the past 40, 50 years. The history of D&D book that recently came out from WotC, I think it was like 50 years of D&D, some kind of anniversary product, includes a reference to Dave Arneson's medieval Braunstein as ad for medieval Braunstein. There's been no threatened lawsuit versus WotC. Again, if you're going to make the argument of no bad tactics, only bad
I'm
targets,
not making that
which is what you do,
argument.
which
I'm
you
not
are,
making the no bad
which you totally
tactics.
are.
I just don't think
Uh,
lawsuits are necessarily a bad tactic because there are some very good reasons that you should be able
I
to
don't
sue
think that they're a
people.
bad target. Yeah, no. I totally
Yeah.
agree with the idea of suing people. I think that most conflicts should be resolved via lawsuits. But if you're doing it versus a specific target who has demonstrably not harmed you and is like basically a fan who has really only benefited you, David Wesley and Griff and these people have
That's
been
why I
sitting on
wanted
these
one of
products
them
for
on to talk to
years.
them so I don't have to steel man for them. But
Yeah.
because I don't like. Here's the deal. I've talked to you. I've talked to Ginger. I've talked to that sphere, your guys' sphere, a lot, right? I'm at least familiar with the names. I'm familiar with the players, right? I may not have a huge dialogue tree with all of them, right? But I know who you are. I generally like you guys, and so I am more amicable when you guys to tell me something to just accept it and believe it, right? But I don't
Right.
know this Wesley guy, or I don't even know this Wesley guy. I don't know Wesley guy. I don't know this Griff guy. I don't know this Dave guy at all. All I've seen is a few tweets that they made online, which kind of seems silly, right? So I can't tell you why they think Ginger was Harmony Ginger was someone that they wanted to threaten a lawsuit towards rather than WotC. I can make a guess
Mhm.
because it's probably far less risky to sue an individual with no power than it is to sue a conglomerate corporation that's going to bury you in countersuits and legal fees if you try to come at them, right? So I can guess that might be a reason, right?
Mhm.
Because for like, I'll give you an example. If I see a situation where a dude is hurting another dude, right? There's a guy out there and he's beating the shit out of some guy. If the guy is someone I can take, I'll try to intervene directly. If the guy's
Okay.
got like 20 buddies and they're all going to town, I'm just going to call the cops and leave, right? That's all I'm going to do. I can't stop it physically, right? So this is how I see that. And I'm giving as good faith as I can because they're not here and I don't know them. And they
Right.
could be just assholes that I don't know about. That's fair enough.
No,
But
I
like,
appreciate you playing the
does that make
counterfactual
sense?
here. No, it definitely does make sense because that reminds me of which details I should be focusing on in this segment and why really it's about the suppression of unmentionables throughout this industry that motivates people in the OSR, people attached to the old guard, to basically strike down smaller creators, create this kind of social embargo on them and isolate them and hopefully choke them out. And that detail in this case is the fact that Griff went on a podcast called This is Dunder Moose.
Okay.
That's his YouTube channel. He went on a podcast called This is Dunder Moose
And
and
he didn't even
discussed.
respond to mine. Now fuck this guy. Who's this guy? Think he's better than me? Not coming on my
He's got a
podcast. Not even
huge
answering me.
mustache. He's got a
Okay.
huge mustache.
Dunder
That's the thing. It's
Moose.
like,
Like no shade to you, Dunder Moose. No shade. I'm sure you're great, right? But
no,
look,
don't give him any credit.
I got
Dunder
like
Moose is only good
fucking
when beat ups is on.
I got like fucking big names on my show, okay? We have former congressmen on my show. The fact that he'd come on your show and not mine. Now fuck this guy. I hate this guy now. No. Yeah, I'm with you. Let's go. Let's get him.
Yeah, okay. So he went on Dunder Moose's podcast and described this whole kerfuffle is about how like these guys are using the term Braunstein wrong, and so that's how it's interfering with our intellectual property. People are going to be confused about it. People are going to be confused about the nature of our product and the way these other people are using it. Goes on Dunder Moose's podcast and gives the same exact definition that Harmony Ginger, and Jeffro have given in public, which is, hey, it's just a game style where you have a bunch of independent actors operating under a fog of war, engaged in conflict with one
Did
another.
he on this podcast delineate? I guess was it even asked why? Excuse me. I'm
This might help you. It
taking a
was
moment.
asked for the express purpose of clearing up this distinction.
Well, what I'm curious is, did Dunder Moose ask this Blackmore guy
Mhm.
what specifically Harmony Ginger, Jeffrey Johnson, all the other people using it were using it in a way? What was wrong with how they were using it? How was it different from the way that it should be used? Was he asked that? And if he
It
was,
was
what was
asked.
the answer that he gave?
It was asked, and the definition he gave of
I'm not
Braunstein.
asking for a definition. I'm asking for what
No,
were
that
the
was his
differences.
response to the question was, hey, this is what a Braunstein is. So I don't know. I don't, and to be clear, I don't have the entire transcript.
Sure.
He
I wish
probably
I was there because I would have
did
pressed him
throughout.
on that,
Yeah,
because that's not like, sure, we're not asking for the definition at this point. We're asking, okay, well, how are they using it in a way that is incorrect, whereas you would correct them on it? And what points? Again,
I've
another
got
reason
one
I wish he'd come
additional
on my
answer
show.
for you. Yeah, no, I have one additional answer for you. It's not specifically being played with David Wesley, and is not the Braunstein rules system, which has technically not really been published. So if you're he Griff has encouraged us to call it a Blackmore, which is the name of Dave Arneson's campaign, in which there was apparently a lot of similar playstyles, and Dave Arneson was running it as a Braunstein and was advertising it as such. There's the Banana Republic, which was a follow-up to Braunstein, which is a separate game focused on a Banana Republic. You have a bunch of people playing roles in this scenario in the same style as Braunstein. So his claim is that we're not playing with David Wesley, and therefore it's not the exact same rule set. Thank you for asking this, because that was his answer. Is It's not the exact same rule set that we called Braunstein. It would be like
Okay, sure, but
you're not
what's
playing the same characters and you're not playing in the same region as the West Marches campaign. So you're not playing the West Marches.
okay? I want to go look at the transcript when I can. I'll
Okay.
watch Dunder Moose's show, because that seems like such a nonsense answer to me.
God help you.
It seems like such a nonsense answer to me, right? When I'm at, like, for example, if I got challenged, like, Wick, you're calling your show a panel show. You shouldn't call it a panel show, because it's my proprietary term, panel show, right, that I invented and used back in the 60s, right?
It's not being run by John Panel.
Yeah, it's not being run by John Panel, right? Like it should be. My question immediately would have been, okay, well, in what ways would a official panel show differ from my panel show? In what meaningful, distinct ways? And if I couldn't get an answer from that, I'd just stop listening to the person, right?
Mm.
So again, I wish they were here so I could ask directly, in what ways, meaningful, distinct ways, is their Braunstein, the official Braunstein, correct, and your Braunstein, the unofficial Braunstein, incorrect? I'm
It's
very
not the
curious.
unofficial Braunstein, to be clear, because we're not actually using it in the term of a product or anything. We're using it in the term of a style of play. In the style of West Marches, a campaign where you have multiple different independent parties.
Completely nobody asked, does Wick know what a West Marches game is? Yeah, I'm the introduced the term to the discussion. Look, you guys act like I don't know D&D. I've been playing D&D all my life. I know the terms for the most part. I don't know the specific Bro SR terms for a lot of times, and I didn't know what Braunstein
Right.
was until I started listening to you guys. But like, I'm not a complete newbie here, right? Just
I
because
think
I
he's
don't.
asking for himself.
Oh, sure. Sounds like an accusation, so we're gonna treat it as
Yeah.
such, okay?
No, definitely.
Okay, we're
Definitely.
gonna fight.
No. So like a West Marches is like multiple independent parties in the same
Did
campaign
they
world
even
with
file
different
a
people.
trademark?
That's
Did they even have this
on
officially trademarked?
Braunstein.
Yeah,
I don't
Braunstein, the
think
word
they do.
Braunstein. Okay,
There
then
are no,
how are they
according
how are they
to
fucking suing if they've never copyrighted it? trademarked it, nothing.
Well, they're planning on doing it. First of all, if you publish a work with that title, there's sort of like an automatic copyright that is presumed on behalf of your published work. So if you publish a book called Braunstein, it's expected that you own the copyright to that work. And there's an easy method of doing so. It's this weird
Yeah, you
workaround that
mail
I
it to yourself or something. I've heard of
yes,
this.
thank you.
I've heard of this. Like I was looking into a few other things
Which I've done
a
with all
while
my
ago,
books.
right? That you just mail it to yourself, then you get the proof that on this date you have this, right?
Yeah.
Um,
If you had a filing an ISBN number for a book or a work, that's another way of getting it. I believe that Drive Through RPG, if you publish it there, or anything having to do with one bookshelf, you are given an ISBN number. There's a lot of there's a lot of things about it that just legally do not make sense. They're probably planning to do it, but again, if this term is regarded as being in common parlance, then that's something that they might have to
hold on.
fight
If you're
over.
right, though, if you are correct in how you've portrayed this, and you're correct about their motivations, their legal standing isn't the the point here. The point is they don't want you specifically using their
Yes,
term because they don't like you specifically.
yes.
So
And
that's
part of the
that's
motivation,
the
you have a
foundation.
splinter motivation. It is the foundation. You have a splinter motivation that if I already don't like these people, if I have to spend money in a court because I'm not necessarily fighting them, if I just have to spend extra money on my lawyer solving this problem, saying, no, this isn't a public figure. No, this isn't like a common parlance term. No, this isn't blah, 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 blah. Give me my marks. That would infuriate somebody. That would especially infuriate an evil, despicable, small minded, stupid person.
I don't like the word evil, but fair.
I love
Otherwise,
the word
yes.
evil.
Otherwise, yes. Right? Small-minded, petty. Let's go with it. Right? I just have an issue with the word evil here.
They could
Um,
stop doing evil things and help us distinguish the two.
because I think you could be an asshole and not be evil. I think evil requires
True.
a step above just being an asshole.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm
am.
glad to agree.
Yeah, and like them actually taking you to court on this. Okay, right. Then we can. But again, like if they don't think their lawsuit is frivolous, then I don't think I'd call it evil because they really believe it. Um. Then
Do
yeah,
you
that's a
remember the
question.
lawsuit, the Maddox lawsuit versus Dick Masterson? It was a few years ago.
I don't.
It's like 10 years ago now, I think. This internet curator Maddox filed a lawsuit against his former co-host of the biggest problem in the universe for to the tune of something like $400 million was like the maximum the maximum suit over having been called a cuck and defamation and harassment and whatever have you.
Wait, someone sued someone else because they got called a cuck?
Yes, yes. He
Okay.
believes. He recently released a documentary on it. He believes wholeheartedly
On the fact that he's a cuck?
in the standing of his lawsuit.
Oh, he made a lawsuit, so he made a documentary about the lawsuit, not
He
the
made a
title.
documentary about
Okay,
this,
okay.
his 10 years of threatening this person with legal action, and the fact that he's completely dropped off the face of the earth, while his former co-host is still fucking his ex-girlfriend and making 20,000 a month on Patreon from a show started from this rift.
Hey, it's
It's
nowhere
very
near
funny. It's
Russian
very
money, okay? 20,000 a month is chump change. You need to get on Putin's payroll. You can get 400K a month, okay?
He was
That's where
very
the
offended
money's
that he
at.
wasn't offered it. Yeah.
That's where the money's at. Um,
But no, people believe this stuff all the time. I don't think that makes them less evil, but like really, really, we could put that to the side,
sure,
put
sure.
the evil thing to the side as far as the legal action goes. I think it's the act of suppressing people so that you just can't, so that you can maintain this Maginot line around basically around the hobby, so
Do
that like
you ever
nobody.
let me ask you this. Let's set this situation aside for the moment. Let's set the
Yeah,
players involved aside. Do you think that there is a time or a situation or a set of circumstances where a content creator could and would be justified in bringing suit against another content creator for using a term that they have trademarked or that they have um, basically created? Do you think that there's ever any circumstance where you would be like, okay, I can see a lawsuit here. That makes sense. That's not evil. That just seems like their legal right.
Yeah, all the time. All the time. That's the purpose of these legal protections to begin with. And even if I disagree with some of the legal protections, if I think some of them are a little bit overboard in terms of like refreshing copyrights or refreshing trademarks, whatever have you, I think some of those are silly. But even that we have these legal protections, I don't think that somebody's necessarily evil for making use of them. There was a comic book titled ISOM recently, ISOM, and there's a Christian ministry known as ISOM that recently had to threaten a lawsuit, then threatened to go ahead with the lawsuit, and finally it was settled sometime later on over this functionally a trademark dispute. And
Hold
that it
on.
was perfectly reasonable.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
listening. Johnson asks, deep thoughts with Wick TV. If someone kills someone but they thought it was for their own good, then would that be evil? You mean like in the military where people kill each other all the time and it's not evil? Yes, there are circumstances where you can kill another person that is not evil. Hundreds of them that we can go through, right? Was Kyle Rittenhouse evil when he shot those people who were coming to lynch him? I don't think he was, right? You might think so, right? But there are context matters. Um, Rabid Wombat on my Twitch chat says, remember when the WWF made the WWF change their name to the WWE because of trademark infringement? No, I don't watch wrestling. I'm not gay, okay?
that's the problem.
Sorry. Is this guy a writer? Are you a writer?
Yes.
Yes, he's a writer. Does he give off writer vibes? Frozen Knight? Does he seem like a writer to you? What about
I think
him?
that was a cup check. Like,
What,
oh, are you a writer? Do you actually know anything about this?
oh no, I'm just wondering why he sensed. Frozen Knight says, so words mean nothing. Evil is someone being mean. So it's funny because my YouTube chat agrees with you on your evil term, but my Twitch
Mhm.
chat is making fun of you on your
See, I
evil
knew
term.
my
It's
instincts were
funny.
correct. It was a cup check of like, oh, are you actually a writer? Do you actually know
Yes, your
anything about what
instinct
you're
was
talking
correct
about?
in this.
Yes, I published Eyes of the Forest back in 2019. I have a bunch of, I have my own books. I have my own books.
Cool.
And
Cool.
purchase ISBN numbers. You know how
How
expensive
has
those are?
let's talk pragmatism, regardless of what should or shouldn't be.
Yeah.
How has this affected, in your opinion, the community of role playing in general? What kind of effects have you seen, if any, on the community overall in regards I should say, because of this um, exchange, because of this
Give me
incident?
give me 2 minutes. I'm going to return with the answer for you. Take some questions from chat. I will be right back.
Okay, Twitch chat W. Well, thank you for the Twitch chat, gang. While he's away, while he's gone, we got some great stuff. Okay, we got some great stuff coming up. Tomorrow is a twofer. We are going to have at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be having on non-smoker Fabian Liberty Scott. I forget how you say his name. We're going to have Dylan Burns and Lonerbox, and they're going to be going over and debating the Russia op situation with Tenet. It'll be fun. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be live watching. Probably not on Twitch, gang. Sorry, but we're gonna be live watching the debate between Kamala Harris and Donald J. Trump. That should be fun and interesting. We got Lactoid, Sansol, Gibbs, and Tyler will be joining us to live watch that and react right after. So come join us for that. Check us out. Watch it with us. Bring your popcorn, gang. It's going to be great. It's going to be special. At some point, I'm going to be debating Destiny on his Alito flag take. He's agreed to it in principle. We just have to set up a good time. But I will be debating him. I think he's wrong about his allegations that Alito should recuse himself, and I'm not an Alito fan by any means, but because your wife has a political opinion and expresses it, does not mean, in my opinion, you should have to recuse yourself. The argument would be, well, it indicates that he might be biased. He might be, but in that case, should a black judge recuse himself whenever a racial issue comes up before the court? Because, oh, look, he might have some skin in the game there. He might have some biases. No, obviously not, right? It's, I want to talk to him about it. He said, sure. We just got to get a time together because I think he's dead wrong here. I think look, here's what I think happened. If I'm going to give you my, my real big take here is I think Josiah, my buddy Josiah, who's my friend, I think Josiah has poisoned his brain. Josiah has been his worm tongue, ladies and gentlemen. He's been whispering in Destiny's ear sweet nothings about how all conservatives are evil, all conservatives are evil, over and over again in his sleep. And I think Destiny's mind has partially melted because of it. So I blame Josiah on this one. Obi-Wan Kenobi says, should a judge recuse themselves from bankruptcy lawsuits because they have a credit card? Exactly, right? Like it's these ideas. Welcome back. I don't have to filibuster anymore.
I appreciate you
So Harmony
filibustering.
Ginger says, the issue for me is them attempting to prevent me from speaking with David Wesley and saying things like, well, trust us. We talked to David and he says not to use his IP. Well, yes, if you don't trust these individuals, you're not going to trust the answer that they give. I get that. That's fair. That's fine. I just, unless he has his own Twitter or his own social media or his own contact
He does
information.
not. He has an email which
Sure, email.
Ginger requested Ginger requested the email of the Ginger requested this email from the organizer of DaveCon, this Vic D guy, and he immediately responded with, "No, I'm not going to give you his email unless you agree to stop using the term Braunstein." And another fan who had David Wesley's contact information then sent her the email, which was handy. But it's such like again petty, stupid,
That just seems
small-minded.
petty.
Yeah,
That's the most petty move in existence, right?
there've been plenty of background
Look,
conversations or
to,
back channel
to be
conversations
clear
about
though,
suppressing harmony.
right?
Yeah,
Like, so I have certain people's email addresses that are bigger, right? Big names, that don't generally make their email addresses public. I wouldn't give
yeah.
those out because it's not public information, right?
That's not the distinction here at all.
But the
But
fact
I
that they're
appreciate you
willing to
steel
give it
manning
out,
it.
hold on. The fact that what gives the lie to that kind of line of thinking
Mhm.
is they said we'll give it to you if you stop using Braunstein, right? So they're obviously willing to
Right.
give it out.
Well, here's the thing. They've already established that they're lying to David Wesley. Like, David Wesley, somebody's trying to take your IP, buddy. Somebody's trying to take this thing that we're working on, that we're going to publish. They're trying to sweep it out from under you. For people who are
Rabid
doing
Wombat,
free
hold on.
advertising for
Rabid
them.
Wombat, you are like this guy's arch nemesis. Rabid Wombat, come on, call in. I wanna hear you.
Who is
You
it?
talk
Is
to
on the
this guy.
Twitch
Get some
chat?
content. Yeah. Rabid Wombat says, like the police, he is under no obligation to aid her investigation. Um, Toby1 Kenobi says, what a slut. They'll give it to
Do you have
anybody.
any? Do you have any obligation to like just not lie to people about the shit they're doing?
Rabid, come on. You know, you're in my Discord, Rapid. You're in my Discord all
The
the
police
time.
have an
Jump
obligation to
backstage.
not commit crimes and not lie in
Hold
front of
on.
the
What do
court.
you think?
You
What
do
is
know
the
that, right?
crime that you think these guys have committed?
No, that's part of it. I'm leaning into his analogy.
So Rabbit will be here in a couple minutes, and we'll have someone that's not me getting
Okay.
to because he's been anti you this whole time,
That's
and I'm
amazing.
not at like I will disagree with you, right, on bits and bobs, on pieces, right,
Yeah.
but overall,
The nature
I
of
think you're
evil in the
right.
world and its
Sure.
consequences for normal people.
Overall, I
All
think
things.
when it comes to the core of the case here, I think you're right. I think you're actually correct here in that I think that these people are being petty, and I think that they're engaging in intimidation to try to stop people that they don't like from getting any kind of notoriety. Right. So
Right.
if it wasn't this, it would have been something else. They would have found any really thing they can do to pick. I don't. That's how it reads to me. I could be
Only
wrong.
if
I
it was
don't know
getting
them.
popular some other way. If it wasn't getting popular, they would have just kept doing the same thing that they've been doing for 4 years, which is don't talk to these people. These guys are dumb. Gary didn't play this way. Don't pay attention to them. Blah, 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 blah. They would have kept that shtick up for however many decades left until Griff dies. But now somebody else has entered the scene and started getting popular and started gaining traction on this name for the express purpose of one, honoring David Wesley, and because as one of the great unnamed founders of the hobby, we consider him, and two, helping people have better games, literally creating the market for Griff's upcoming product.
Rabid. Oh.
All right, what do you have for me?
Oh, hopefully he has a
You're
working
muted.
mic. Um.
Oh, I'm on push to talk. Okay, here we
there you
go.
go.
Sorry. I've been
Are the
floating
police
back and forth
obligated to
between
help
teams.
you with your
So
audio settings?
what? No,
Are the police
hopefully
obligated to help you with your audio settings? You have an
no,
echo in
they're
the
not.
background, by the way.
So like the police, they are not obligated to help this or anyone get their shit together. So
Okay.
if they're like, oh, they didn't provide an
God help
email
them.
address, it's like, yeah, okay, good. Like
Was
they're
that
evil,
can you
aren't
just
they?
restate what my
Isn't that
problem
living
was?
them into them?
Can you restate what my problem was with the email address?
Which one? Yes. So if the point of contention is that they're being mean because they wouldn't give her the email address, so what? They're under no obligation to help her in any way, shape, or form. If they
Mhm.
offered her the email address in exchange for something they found valuable, well, that's just American capitalism, baby.
No. So that was not my objection. My objection was they were in the act of lying to David Wesley, whispering in his ears, saying that somebody is trying to victimize him with criminal activity.
Sure, that can be decided in
And
court.
under those premises, wanted to restrict her from contacting him to just clear the issue up.
How are they restricting her? Like, if she
They're
had his
not
email address, she could just write him. They're not restricting her in any way,
right,
shape, or form.
right.
Are you
Or
complaining
what are
that
they
they're not
trying to hide?
enabling her?
Somebody that they're attacking in private and accusing of criminal activity?
Yeah, why
They're
should they
not.
help a criminal?
Hold on.
Why
What
should they help
criminal?
you?
Hold on. Hold on. What criminal activity has Harmony Ginger been
Or
accused
sorry,
of?
civil whatever
Copyright infringement or
infringement of the
yeah.
copyright. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
which can be settled in court.
Harmony Ginger says I have his email address and I did write him.
Well,
Yes.
there you go.
Because somebody
Good
else
wins
provided it to her.
again. Evil has been thwarted.
So
Yeah.
Rabbit,
Sauron
you
has
had a
been
few issues.
banished back to the depths of his domain.
Rabbit, you had an issue with a few of our friend Rube here's takes on this, or the
Yeah,
way
I
he's
think it's
presented it.
hyperbolic. I
Sure.
think trying to characterize them as evil as opposed to people who are just enforcing intellectual property rights. Like, I could go as far as dickish. They seem to be very dickish, but to paint them as evil, totally
What
hyperbolic in
intellectual property
my
rights are
opinion.
they enforcing right now?
Well, that'll be the question, isn't it? They will have to prove that this property is actually been trademarked or these rights have been secured, that they are the executors of these rights, and that they do not believe that they're being used in a legal way. All matters for the court.
What violation?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? They're going to
You
have
could
to
just say,
prove.
I don't know. And I'm just like playing the steel man for no apparent reason.
Yeah, I'm not the ones making the accusation on their side, right? If
No, you're
you've
the one
laid out
defending
where
it.
they're saying that this is either a style that they have a right to enforce, then
Mhm.
all that can be determined in court. I don't have
It
to
could also
make
be
that
determined
argument to
outside of
say that
court.
they're not evil for going to the courts for a remedy. They might not be right. I'm not arguing whether they're right or wrong. I'm arguing that they have a right to do so, that they can explore this tactic because there are no bad
Mhm.
tactics. And the disagreement is whether this is an appropriate target or not. But that is
Okay.
a matter for the courts.
So you don't know their intentions. You don't know why they're necessarily doing
Yeah,
it.
don't
You
care.
know the
Don't care.
process, but you are confident that they are not evil.
I
How?
am confident I can't judge them as evil.
Okay.
what would make them rabid? What could they have done or said or not done or not said that would be enough information for you to be like, okay, yeah, these guys are actually kind of evil?
So if they are certain in their own minds that they do not have the rights to this material, that they can't exercise this kind of activity, and they're just doing like a frivolous lawsuit to try and bully someone out of something that they should allowed to do legally, then I think that I don't like the word evil, but it's
Go down
it's
that.
as close to evil as I would put in there. If they are knowingly using the power that they have through the courts to try and bully something or someone out of doing something that they should be allowed to do legally, then that is definitely, uh, I'll say, immoral. Evil, evil. I reserve for darker things than like
Darker
salacious lawsuits.
things. Okay. Um, is there any evidence on your end, Mr. Rube, of them doing that, of them using this to bully, and knowing that they have no leg to stand on?
Yep. Lying to David Wesley and accusing them of attempting to steal his intellectual property.
Like you have that evidence.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Can you
then
I have
please
that's
a
provide it?
proof.
I'm
confession.
just really curious. Can you send me
Yeah.
a chat log? What
If
is
somebody can
evidence that
send
they're
me a
lying?
DM about him, because he's deleted several of these tweets so far, but if anybody can send me the screenshot, either on the Rube Jelly account or on the Asher Creativity account, please do so.
And that would be good because then you take that to court. You indicate to the court that this lawsuit is frivolous, knowingly so by these people.
Mhm.
And then as the defendant, you get like jackpot, right? Like
Jackpot. No, I
you get
spent
your
money
court
for
costs covered, you can sue for
maybe.
damages, all of these things. So even, like a slap suit type of situation, it works out in your favor as a defendant. It still sucks to have to go to court, but that's the system.
Right.
I'm just
It could also be
taking time.
settled outside of court, by the way.
Well, hopefully,
I don't know if you know
if
that.
if you show them the evidence that you have, you're probably either going to go through mediation, unless they're absolute jerks. They feel like they can run the suit but avoid the slap. Then they might do it anyway if they feel that they have enough money to burn down their opposition.
Right.
Which
Right.
comes
So
back to
there's like
why
a
Rick was
hostile
saying you attack
activity
someone
here.
smaller, right? Because you don't
Right.
want someone with enough money to burn your stack down.
Right, but that is going to be an argument in court. These other people are doing it. Why have you not engaged them? Right.
Yeah. But I posted in chat earlier that you don't have to enforce your right every time to enforce your right anytime.
Yeah, but it calls into question the motivation for why you're doing it.
Yep.
Well, if
For
you
sure.
look, this could be very easy. If you guys have evidence that they're lying,
Yeah, I'm waiting on a.
sure,
Let's see here.
it's
Because I'm waiting on
easy.
the
That'd be
screenshot.
like
Again,
game,
he
set,
has
match,
deleted
right?
several of these. But he was told his description on Twitter was that he had conversations with Wesley, was not going to allow anybody else to contact him. Griff was going to be the voice for Wesley. And so that means that nobody can go to Wesley. If somebody went to Wesley and said, "Hey, we're not
Sure,
publishing a book
that's
with your
weird,
name on it
but it's not
or doing
lying,
anything like that,"
right?
say again?
It's weird that they're doing that. It's weird that they're acting as if that they are in like some kind of um position where they can tell someone who they can and can't talk to. That's weird. But the accusation
It's
you
not
leveled
that. It's
was that
not
they are
that.
lying.
Hold on.
Hold
It's
on.
not
The
that. In
accusation leveled is that they are lying to Wesley about what's going on, right? In order because whatever reason, because they don't like you guys, because of whatever, right? Um, sure, okay, I'm with you. Let's see it.
I'm waiting on a screenshot.
Okay.
So are these people the legal representative of this Wesley guy
Nobody
in
knows.
this matter? Because that would be a reason, if they're getting paid to handle this crap so that he doesn't have to, that would be one reason for them to take this position.
I don't think that Griff is a lawyer. I suppose I should check.
Conservatorship. That's the word I was looking for, right? Like, so you know what
Right.
Britney Spears had? Okay, thank you. Like, yeah, sometimes there are situations where people are put, like, is a power of attorney or things like that over other people.
Mhm.
I've been power of attorney for someone. I wasn't a lawyer, right? But I still handled some of their shit.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
or if
That's
they're
something to do.
licensing the property, or if they're handling it as a business on behalf of this person, those are all reasons why they could take point on any conversation related to it. And I only have like 3 or 4 more minutes. I do have to take my
No,
kids
no,
to the
thank you
pool,
for coming on, and
but
thank you.
I'd
Let me
said
just
no
ask
a
you,
couple
how do you think
times.
about
I couldn't say no again because
how do you think
you.
about like swatting? What do you think about that?
Swatting's bad.
Oh,
Doxing's
swatting's bad.
bad.
Swatting is evil.
Okay. All right. Why is it evil?
There's
Because
potential for death.
you're
You could get someone
literally
killed.
you are
Is it just the
weaponizing
potential
the
for death?
police force with the intent of putting someone in physical, potentially mortal danger.
Okay. No, that's definitely bad. What if they
Evil.
weaponized the police force, but it didn't like put you in physical danger? It just hurt your finances.
Hold on, Jeffro Johnson, if you have a better description and can do it better, you are invited. The Discord's open, !point Discord in chat, or I can provide the link to you, and you can come on and you can give us why this is all bullshit and we should just believe you and not ask for any evidence. I would love to have you on. You are more than welcome to come on. Yeah, get
We
on.
don't have to go like crazy Socratic, right? If you're asking me if I think frivolous lawsuits are bad, I don't think they're healthy. You know, the whole point of contention here is whether they believe they have a right to sue and enforce these property rights. And if so, then they're perfectly within their purview to do so. It doesn't make them evil. It could make them dickish if they're doing it against people they don't like and not against other people they do like. So,
Mhm.
you know, I just don't think they're evil. And I think this all hinges
No, if they're
upon whether
lying,
they have the
though,
right.
like I'll say this: if they are lying, right? If they are actively lying about this situation because they want to bully people they don't like, yes, maybe not evil, but close enough, right? Um,
Yeah, you shouldn't lie. Especially, you shouldn't lie in legal matters. That's
yeah.
for sure. You shouldn't lie to the
So
court.
yeah, once you get that screenshot, show it to me, baby, and I'll read it out.
Harmony's going through it now. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, I'm going to jump out now that we all
Rabbit,
agree
thank
they're
you for
not
coming on.
evil.
Right,
Maybe
really
just dickish.
appreciate you. I could
Yeah.
open this up. So if anyone out there, right, anyone out there has strong thoughts or opinions or have been following this more than I have, and think that, oh, you should have been talking about this instead of that, or oh, you forgot to mention this or instead of that. Show's open,
Guys,
man.
it's not
Just jump
Wick's fault
backstage.
that they are too pussy to show up and basically put anything behind the words here.
Hold
And
on,
the entire
repeat that,
basis
please.
of their
I
legal
missed
threat.
it. I missed it. Can you
Oh my
repeat?
god, it's not Wick's fault that these two are such pussies that they can't be bothered to show up and explain why people who are not selling a product are infringing on copyright by referring to their personal home campaigns in the style of some other game that happened previously.
Oh, see, this is what happens when you give a woman a job. Harmony Ginger forgot what she was even looking for, to be honest. So if you're relying or waiting on Harmony Ginger, you have failed, and she has failed you. But
There's a bunch of people failing me in the chat right now. Hey guys,
like,
Griff deleted the
and see, this is
screenshot. I know
why
that you have it.
this is one that, like, I'm giving you time. I'm giving you all the time you need, right?
Yeah, I
But
appreciate it. Let
if
me
I'm
go
going to
back
accuse
to
someone of
the kind of thing it
lying,
is.
I'm going to have an example ready.
Yep.
Just from, just as a pragmatic course of action. If I said these people are lying, I'm going to be able to demonstrate why. Because that's a big accusation, right? They're liars. They shouldn't be trusted.
Oh yeah. Let's see here. Ba-ba-ba. I have a quote from Dave Kahn
Yeah,
here
throw it to my
saying that
DM so I can read it.
yeah, here we go. All right, I have one. Ooh, there we go.
And the accusation, dear audience, is that these people are lying in order to.
We're gonna go through a bunch of them now.
Oh, there's a bunch. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. These are tweets. I'm going to put it up on the screen. They may not be able to see you or me anymore. I forget how I have this set up, but we'll figure it
that's
out, and
okay.
the dear audience will be able to view these tweets as we view them, so you know, dear audience, dear viewer, that I'm not making shit up. Okay, give me a second. Okay, is that a good size for everyone? Can people read that? So this is from Dave Kahn, MN. This is the Dave in the Dave and Griff saga, and now they can only see you on the screen. They can't see me. Fair enough. So here's this. Here's what they say. Using the name Braunstein in a game you play without ever playing Braunstein in real life with its creator David Wesley, especially when the rules have never been published before, is like slapping a Ferrari badge on a Yugo. Blackmore Film and I both agree to this sentiment.
That
How
was the
is
one that
this?
you responded
Oh,
to.
and yeah, and this is me. Hey, I'm having a show on this on Monday. If you'd be happy to add your perspective, and they say, sorry, I won't be available till Tuesday at the earliest. But my week was booked, unfortunately. So, but
Again, I'm sending a bunch of them,
okay,
right?
we'll keep
We're
going
not viewing evidence in isolation here.
because that doesn't like. I'm waiting for the lie here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the accusation. To be clear, that they lied.
Yes.
So
Again,
to
we're
Wesley,
not
they were
viewing these in
lying about this
isolation.
to Wesley.
This
Yes.
is Exhibit A. Oops, I just sent that to Harmony. That was very silly.
Wow, you guys are like the worst at this.
What we
Really.
got?
Okay, here we go.
This is a new one.
Yeah, let's look at this. Okay.
I'm going to continue sending. I'm going to work backwards while I'm pulling these out.
Okay. This is from Griff. Okay. 1 month ago. Dundermoose. We are very similar in that we keep a sense of humor about life. I love the messages here because I got to call Bro SR names and abuse them with glee. Okay. Admit it. That's what you guys love more than anything. I noticed Jethro. Is that his name? Have I been saying it wrong the whole time?
No, it's Jeffro.
Oh, okay. He used it wrong, probably just to fuck with him. Okay. I noticed Jeffro posted a brief blog post bragging about how the Blackmore Foundation proves something, but his entire post merely supports my premise that you guys aren't playing Braunstein. Nope. Old Jethro isn't too good with logic and reason thought. Then again, Catholic school was probably really hard on Jethro too. I know from experience those nuns can be really mean. Nothing really compares to being picked up by the scruff of your neck and beat like a pinata. I'm sure Jethro feels triggered just recalling his. Okay, I'm looking for the like. And to be
Next
clear,
one.
if there's something
Next
toss
one.
that
Next
I can't,
one.
hold on. If I can't show this on Twitch, don't send it to me, please.
Yes, no, that's fine.
So if there's like, yeah. So yeah, this is just
There's no goat seas in these threads.
this is just
safe.
him going through and saying why
We,
he doesn't like Jeffro. You Bro SR are simply not clever enough. This is stage 1 Blackmore, just before the advent of the party going to the dungeon game, but a step beyond Braunstein. Return to Blackmore in the book describes multiple events. Anderson playing solo, Dave's friend coming to rescue him, and everyone else getting embroiled in multiple player conflict in a battle. Each session covered as much as it needed to. The idea was not to put constraints on players for a truly open game system. Yep, 1.1, 1-to-1 time is dumb. Freeze time is dumb and lazy. Just let players play and keep time and see how things fall together organically, compress time and expand time. Okay, he just disagrees with you guys.
The next two.
Okay, give me a second. So this one is a tweet. As a personal friend of David Wesley, I would hope you would shut down these IP stealing twerps. I doubt Mr. Wesley hears much about this except from Blackmore Film and myself. By giving them a forum, I feel you're legitimizing their theft of a great man's work. So this is the core disagreement here, right, that you guys have. He says you're stealing. You say you're not.
So whether we're clear that they are accusing us of this.
Yes. This is him accusing
the next one.
IP theft. Yes. I agree with that. Hold on. Okay.
There it is. We're going to read the bolded text here.
Sure. We've seen this before, but I'll read it again. I just got off the phone with David Wesley. If you don't listen to him, maybe you will listen to what he has to say. David is really adamant about protecting his game name rights. He proceeded to tell me the story about a man who invented the Cult Repeater. As the story goes, Cult sent letters to all his competitors and said, I am too poor right now to sue you for any infringements on my patents, but as soon as I can afford it, I will be coming for you. 15 years later, Cult had enough profits from the design that he proceeded to sue all his competition out of business. David Wesley is not accepting interviews until further notice, and that's below. Unfortunately, the way I'm viewing this, I can't show you the whole thing. I actually had this in a better way on Harmony Ginger's post that she made, but where you can see it right here. But yeah, I'm waiting for the lie. Can you explain that? How these demonstrate a lie?
The accusation, hold on. The accusation is that we're stealing the IP.
Yep.
To David Wesley. On the flip side of that is, this is the quote, on the flip side of that is how David is very amicable to anyone wanting to license Braunstein for a nominal sum in order to create a Braunstein adjacent product through the use of the Braunstein label.
Yes, they think that you are stealing their IP, and you are saying you're not.
Because there is no Braunstein product, that I'm inferring that Griff here is telling David that we are creating a product based on the Braunstein. In what other context does that response make sense?
So this is the I'll just read it again. This is the non-bolded text, right? So this is what you just quoted. On the flip side of this is how David is very amicable to anyone wanting to license Braunstein for a nominal sum in order to create a Braunstein adjacent product, selling through the use of the Braunstein label. Well, that's his accusation, that by playing this game and hosting podcasts talking about this game and putting out products with the name in it, which you said you're doing. You said you're doing
having a product with the name in it.
That you have a product with the name in it coming out?
I have a name, like I referenced the name.
Oh, so it's not in the product itself?
No, in the product. I say this is like a Westmarch.
Well, not the title of the product, I should say.
No, it's not like Braunstein, Chilmas Valley. No.
Okay. Just fair enough. Okay. Like I said, I'm with you.
What other?
I'm with you spiritually. I just don't see this as if they really believe this, then it's not a lie.
What do you mean if they really believe this?
Yeah, if they really believe that you guys are somehow stealing the IP.
What do you mean by that? We don't have a product. There is no Braunstein product.
Okay, yeah, but he's not.
None of us sell products to begin with, except for me. And I'm not the one being threatened with the lawsuit. It's a person talking about it online. So if they're accusing us of stealing it for a product, that's a lie.
So
give me an alternative explanation.
The tweets you have given me, the screenshots you have given me, one was just Blackmore Films being mean to Jeffro. Okay, that was one. You have given me where Dave Kahn says that
saying that he enjoys interacting with us for the purpose of abuse. And
he doesn't like you guys. Fair. Right. Using the name Braunstein, the game you play without ever played Braunstein in real life, is like slapping a Ferrari badge on a Yugo. That's the tweet where I think that this is how they view it. And he says it right here. Right. He says that you are taking a name and you are corrupting it, right? You are corrupting it by using that name in a way that is masking what the thing that you're doing actually is, and also corrupting what we view, right? And so he thinks, for whatever reason, that's IP theft.
Next.
Yes, the next is him saying, as a personal friend of David Wesley.
Closest to a confession that you will get.
Sure. As a personal friend of David Wesley, I would hope, and this is Dave Kahn again, as a personal friend of David Wesley, I would hope that you would shut down these IP stealing twerps. I doubt Mr. Wesley hears much about this except for Blackmore and myself. By giving them a forum, I feel you're legitimizing their theft of the great man's work. He's already described to you what he thinks the theft is.
Somebody is telling him that he thinks that we're engaged in IP theft.
Yes.
What is the mechanism of the accusation that is described in the next post I gave you?
The lawsuit one. On the flip side, it is I just
I
got
just
off the
got off the phone
phone.
with
Yeah,
David
David Wesley. If
Wesley.
you
If
won't
you
listen to
won't listen
me,
to me, listen to
you'll
him.
listen to what he has to say. David is really adamant in protecting his game name rights. The game name rights. He proceeded to
Game
tell me the
name right.
story about the cult repeater, and he tells the cult repeater story. And he says, on the flip side of that is how David is very amicable to anyone wanting to license Braunstein. I'm assuming he means the name, right? For a nominal sum in order to create a Braunstein adjacent product selling through the
Braunstein
use of the Braunstein
adjacent
logo.
product.
Yes.
Why is that being mentioned?
Probably because he wants to get you to license the product so he can make money off of you. It seems
But what product?
kind of silly. Any product you might be intending to make.
What product? If I say to somebody, hey, Wick, it's going to be really difficult to come up with an analogy here. Bear with me. If I say, like, all right, you're going to make a movie based on your, you're going to make a movie based on your Twitch streaming career, right? And somebody mentions how they love Wick TV, and they're not making a product based on Wick TV. They're just saying that they like Wick TV.
Yeah,
And
look, I
somebody else
already
comes at
agree
Destiny
with you
comes
that I
to
think they're
no
wrong on
Kisco comes
this.
to tell you and gives you bad legal advice and says they're trying to steal your product. And also, I don't want you to talk to these people. We're gonna lock you down. I'm gonna make sure that you're not infected by these people who are trying to take it, who are trying to steal your IP. You don't even look at it. I'll take care of it for you. What would you characterize that as? Would that be lying? If there's no product and I'm accusing somebody
But
of
if they
making a
think that
product
you are making
to
or want
invoke
to
a
make money,
lawsuit.
because you don't have to make a... Okay, so, again, I'm
I know
with
you don't
you,
have
and
to
I
make
think
it.
they're
I know you don't
silly.
have to make one. What is the
But
accusation
you've accused
that
them
they're
of
making?
lying, and your evidence is...
My evidence. Okay, what would you call it then?
I think they're just stupid.
David,
We gotta
they're making
differentiate. Hold on, this
product.
is important.
David,
We
they're
gotta
making a product
differentiate
using your name.
between stupid and
Okay.
lying. When you are lying, you are maliciously wrong. You know you're wrong. You know they're stupid. Now, again, you have provided evidence that they don't like you guys. So it is within the realm of possibility that I can make the assumption that they might be lying about this. That's very possible. They might be lying.
Okay.
But I don't know if they are, and I haven't seen enough evidence to say that they are.
I
Does that make
don't know
sense?
what the connection. It makes sense in a kind of ethereal, hypothetical sense, but we're not making product. If we're not making product with the Braunstein name, and the accusation is that we're making product with the Braunstein name, and David Wesley is through Griff saying, if you do this, I will sue you. But if you would like to license my product, you can do that. To create product, if you want to license the name to create product, you can do that. What have we been accused of?
So what Griff
Is
is
it
saying,
true?
that David is saying, that he is adamant about protecting his game name rights,
Okay.
which is different than product. You understand? Like, he is
Yes.
adamant about protecting the right to his game name. Unfortunately, Wesley isn't
I'm not
here.
taking the thing in
right?
isolation here.
Okay, me
I'm taking
neither.
the whole.
But that's how it
Okay.
sets up, right? That's the...
Right.
I wish I knew who this was to. Do we know who this is to?
That was on the Dunder Moose podcast. That is a comment on the Dunder Moose podcast.
Do I have to watch the Dunder Moose podcast for real?
I mean, you
To get better
should. We should.
context?
You give him a pity view.
I should. That's true. I probably will. Because I need more context, because as it reads to me, right, is this guy, it just reads again as the back and forth, like he really doesn't like you guys using his name because you think they think that you are using the name incorrectly. They haven't really explained why either, which is a problem I have. If they were on, that I would be questioning them at, because they haven't given any reasons why this is fundamentally incorrect or different, right? But they think, for whatever reason, that it is, unless they are lying, which they might be. But this exchange that we've seen does not provide enough evidence for me to call it a lie.
Okay.
Again, like I said, I wish they were
we
here.
disagree about the limits of ignorance then.
Okay, fair enough.
I think if I'm accusing somebody of making a product with a name on it, I would be expected to provide you the exact name of that product and the author and all the information therein.
Say one more time, the last part. I'm sorry.
If I accused you of making a product using my protected IP, I would be expected, I think, to provide you with the name of that product.
Yes, and if they were on
Right.
here, I would be asking them, okay, how are they misusing the name? But they're not on here. You, brave knight, one I give a lot of credit to for coming on my show, has come on my show. Therefore, I question you. They aren't
No,
here.
I totally understand.
So
If
I
they
can't
had
question
it,
them.
here's the thing.
I wish they were, so I could, because it does look a little weird. Look, I know they don't know me. I know they don't know me. Who would, right? I'm a small little boy creator, okay, itty bitty bitty, less than 10,000 YouTube subs, all that, right? But I wish they would come on so I could ask them some of these questions, and we could get to the bottom of whether or not they are maliciously lying or just.
This is a secret. Because if I made the accusation of, hey, they're making a product stealing my IP, and you then asked which one, would you accept the answer of I just didn't know that there wasn't one?
So it depends, right? Like this is
can
funny
he
because
make that claim in ignorance? I'm confident that they're doing this.
I don't need you to have actually done something
to
believe that you might do something in the future and to be worried about you doing that.
Agreed.
Sure.
That's
so
not the accusation.
That's very possible.
That's not the accusation.
But that explains his tweet, is what I'm saying, or not tweet, his comment.
No, it doesn't.
I think it does. I think he's
present
worried
tense.
that you guys are going to make a product.
We are
based on
doing
this name.
it now. Is the accusation
that you guys? That was from Dave, and Dave said that you guys are engaged in IP theft. I don't know if Dave understands what IP theft is.
Oh. What are the limits of ignorance here that let you lie about something like this?
Again, I think.
Am I unreasonable? I guess is this the real question? Am I unreasonable for having a standard that if you're going to make me spend money defending myself, you have some responsibility?
How much money have you spent defending yourself
in advance? I haven't yet.
Okay. Right?
Hold on.
Is that a lie that you, right, have made just now? Right? Or are you just saying, hey, I'm worried about this situation to have happen, and so I'm preemptively making some statements, making some things like that? Because you have a reasonable...
Threatening to make me spend money on it.
Yeah. You have a reasonable concern that in the future that you might have to spend some legal fees. It's reasonable. It's very reasonable to have, right?
Yeah.
But again, throughout this conversation, just in the course of the discourse, you've said many times, like, if they make me spend money on this, I'm going to be sued. I think that this is wrong and evil of them, and they are evil, right? So again, I think the same thing's happening with their side is they think you guys are engaged in IP theft. And so they have said, if you want to make a product, you can license it, right? But otherwise it is IP theft. And we think you guys are going to be doing the IP theft.
What is IP theft?
I invited Lactoid on to explain this to us, but Lactoid couldn't make it today.
No.
Lactoid's a lawyer, so he'll
like he's pretty cool. The what I'm asking
I wonder if
is
Pisco's watching.
What is their accusation of? What is their? See if we could get Nick Rekieta out of prison before that happens.
Nick Rekieta isn't he going to jail for cocaine?
He might be. We'll see.
Okay.
He got his kids back.
I'm not sure if that's awesome. Good or not. Honestly,
it's fantastic.
I don't know the situation well enough to really speak on it.
I've been following it for a while. Anyways, and cocaine should be legal anyways. But that aside, do you have any alcohol in your house?
No.
Are you around anybody that has alcohol in their house?
I don't know. I don't talk to my neighbors. What are you doing?
Okay,
I live in rural America. I live among a bunch of Mennonites. So
in Pennsylvania, if you don't think they're fucking drunk off their ass all the time, you're insane. But we'll put that to the side.
Sure.
How else are you gonna live with
Hold
no
on,
TV?
Obi-Wan Kenobi says this is the worst taste of testosterone poisoning I've ever seen. What do you mean by that, Obi-Wan Kenobi?
That's so rude.
I'm just trying to figure out what that means in the context of our conversation.
There's a backhanded insult. Can you have a backhanded insult? What's the equivalent of a backhanded compliment, but for an insult?
backhanded insult is like, man,
A Freudian slip,
oh,
maybe.
your ass is just too fat for those jeans. It's so thick and juicy. How dare you try to wear those jeans or something? I don't know.
Yeah, but there is an equivalent on the opposite side where
I
you're
don't know.
just. It's got to be a name for it. I don't know.
No.
And the whole point is, if I accuse you of doing something, of stealing a product in the present tense, I just have the expectation that you could show me which product was doing the
Yes, I
stealing.
agree. I agree
And if
that
I
they
told
should.
somebody that they were stealing it and the response was a legal threat, then I've invoked a legal threat on the basis of a lie. I would not permit the excuse of ignorance for which product is ostensibly stealing it because we're being accused in the present day. And again, they clarified that their idea of it on Twitter, at the very least, the context in which they're accusing us to us is using the name on a podcast.
Oh, it's incredibly stupid. I agree.
But when they talk to David Wesley, it is in the context of a product.
No, when they again
Yes.
that evidence
Yes.
you have provided me does not show that. What it shows
That's
is
okay.
that
I'm
David
going to take
Wesley.
the inference, and I will be
Okay,
happy to
I
be right
understand
about
why
this
you
in the
take that
future.
inference, right? I
Yeah.
understand. I get it. I'm just
That's a
saying that.
weird thing to say in any other context, is if they want to license my product on their products, they can do so. That would be that would be so
I
weird
don't
to say
know.
in
It's
any
not
other
really weird
context.
when talking about like
No, it's
IP
very weird.
laws and game name rights and rights in general. And if they were
Very
talking
weird.
about that with David Wesley, which I think they were, right? Then why would that be? Why would that be odd to bring up?
Because it would be odd to bring up if they were talking about podcasts.
Hmm.
You don't license your IP out to be reviewed on a
Well,
podcast.
there are like you can get copyright struck on a podcast and it
Yes, you
happens all the
can.
time, right? So like if I'm going to be watching the debate tomorrow, for example, and that's one of the concerns I have while watching this live debate, am I going to get copyright struck, right?
Yeah.
And you could I ostensibly buy a license, right, to watch it and you'd be fine, but Wick, move your mic away for a bit. Away from what?
Move it closer, actually.
Away from what? Am I too loud?
Maybe that was the testosterone poisoning thing.
Maybe.
Like we're getting loud.
I like yelling.
I didn't mean to remind you of your father. I'm sorry, dear commenter or viewer.
Your commenter or viewer. But here's the deal, right? Like at the end of the day, because we are kind of wrapping up unless someone else wants
Mhm.
to jump on um and give their side of things. And again, the invitation's over. And also if Blackmore Film or Dave sees this podcast in the future and wants to set up a time to give their side of the story, my DMs are open, baby. Okay, I will hear you out, and I will question you like I did Mr. Rube here. So it won't be a free pass, but
To be clear,
yeah,
those are fair questions.
yeah, I'll
Totally
give
fair questions. I am making an inference based on the
yeah.
evidence provided to me.
He's slowly siding off screen. Overlord Class says you can get anything licensed if they're willing to give it to you. Just depends the royalties are involved. So
But
yeah,
he's questioning that.
I don't know if that's true. Okay. But yeah, we have come to the point of the conversation where I think we are done. We've gone
Yeah.
through. We've made content, baby.
Any other
Is
questions that you wanted to address before the end
oh
here? Questions from
man,
chat?
yeah. Is there? The Testy Johnson says anything is a vagina if your dick fits. Beautiful contribution to the conversation. I appreciate you.
Somebody, can we get a
Your
wellness
Testy
check on
Johnson.
that guy's couch?
I don't think he's JD Vance. I think he's okay. Okay. Yeah, is there anything that we haven't touched on that you think we should have or I should have brought up?
At this point, I don't think that we have. Yeah, at this point, I don't think that. I think we've gone over pretty much everything. I think that these people are evil, petty, stupid, and small-minded. I think they have confessed, as far as I'm concerned, to doing this for to doing this for petty reasons. They're making legal threats, which some of them have later retracted. and deleted those tweets after making these accusations. And I think that they have demonstrated, at least by inference, that they've been lying to David Wesley, and they seem very intent on making sure that nobody clears the air. So that's, to me, is the behavior of somebody who is trying to avoid getting caught doing something wrong.
Are you going to sue them if you can prove they're lying?
I don't think that you can sue them for this. There's like criminal extortion laws. What would be the point?
I don't know. Make some money.
I'm gonna make money off of that.
I don't know. Look, I'm just asking.
I'm just risking money. I'm gonna miss work.
Okay. Thanks for coming, guys. This has been a blast. Where can people find you, Gelatinous Rube?
Or you can find me at YouTube/Gelatinous Rube. You can also find me on Substack here. I was going to post a link to Jeffrey Johnson's Appendix and
Please
a Literary
do.
History of Dungeons and Dragons. It's not available on Amazon anymore.
Why not?
I don't know.
Jeffro, why'd you take your book down? Why'd you turn Rube into a liar here?
Well, here's the thing. You can also buy his book, How to Win at D&D, on Pylon Press, which is sort of like it's a self-contained work discussing our advancements and our sort of our knowledge of like the history of the hobby so far and how we've been using these different little bits to run our home campaigns. But and it's self-contained, and it is also a preview to a larger work that's much more expansive.
I will do my best once you get me those links.
Estalia House is the publisher. Yes, but it used to be available on Amazon.
Get me the links. I'll put them in the description. But until you get me the links, I can't put them in the description. But thank you for taking your time.
I appreciate how much you've been steelmanning these guys, by the way.
Look, I've got to make a show of it. And
yes,
Harmony wouldn't come on. These guys wouldn't come on. No one wants to come on my show today. I don't know why. Tomorrow we got a great show coming up, gang. If you've enjoyed this content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got Dylan Burns, we got Loner Box, we got Non-Smoker, we got Fabian Liberty coming on tomorrow. And that's just the first session, because the second session, oh baby, we're going all night here. We're going to watch the presidential debate. Will it be as impactful as the other presidential debate was? We'll find out, right? If Harris does poorly, will they kick her out too? I don't know. If Trump does poorly, will they kick him out? We'll see. Check us out.
Somebody get her a shot before she goes on. Somebody get her just a nice glass of like whiskey. Get her some.
Oh, a shot, not a shot. Okay, I'm like a shot. Like, what are they going to inject her with? Like growth hormone?
Wait, stop. Just.
I was just a shot. I don't know if we. Shot. Okay. Kinetic Paw says, I hope Non-Smoker freaks out and throws a hissy fit. That'll be content, baby. Also, no, I won't say it till it's official. So I won't give you guys. But we might have something interesting coming out Friday. It's in the works. Okay. Who's streaming? Is Prime streaming yet? Is Prime Kai up? Who's live on Twitch I can raid into? Come on, Twitch viewers, don't fail me. Give me a name. Stardust? Live? Yeah, we got Sansel. But you know what? Let's go to Sansel.
You are still on Amazon? What the fuck?
Are you just really bad at finding things?
I might be, but when I pulled the link up, it said like this product is no longer available.
Damn. Maybe he banned you specifically.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe, but I'll get to you guys in post.
I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, Girl Scouts. And as always, have a fun day.